Hey friends, and welcome back to the Black Hills Connection podcast. Today our special guest is Dayna. Now, we met a few years ago, and we talked about this journal that you have written for cancer patients, and now you have another journal out. We'll get to that, but first, tell our audience just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I was raised pretty much in the Black Hills, went away to college. The very first tie-in is I was working at Taco Bell my freshman year after college, and a radiation oncologist walked in and said, "Dayna, what did you decide to study in school?" And I said, "Medical technology." And he's like, "You're not a lab person. You should come check out what I do."
Oh.
And he was a radiation oncologist at the Cancer Institute. I went and shadowed him, and I went, "You're right, I need to do this." It took me 5 more years of schooling before I could stand in the halls of CCI with him, and he said, "Long road from Taco Bell to radiation therapist," right? And,
Oh, wow.
And it was. It
wow,
was.
so that was kind of like a meant to be moment then,
was.
because what are the odds of him coming through, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was a customer and he knew my personality, and I worked there for a while, but it's still
okay.
very much so formed and shaped my future career.
Yeah.
So I worked at the hospital. This is like 1990 when I met him. I worked at the hospital from 94 to 2001 as a radiation therapist, and then as a medical dosimetrist. So I walked the halls with cancer patients. I walked alongside of them, delivered the radiation treatments, and then moved into the treatment planning of the radiation treatments, which is called medical dosimetrist.
Oh, okay,
And
gotcha.
so
I
that's
was like,
where
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
spent most of my career doing that. So in a short term, you take the CAT scan. It's a 3-dimensional man, and you contour what you need to treat and the normal structures, and then we have computer software that decides how the radiation is delivered and how you get nice dose around what you want to treat, but spare the other critical organs. And
Okay, so you were working really hands-on with patients,
Absolutely.
developing like this plan of treatment, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, and so sort of when did the journal come into play, or sort of how does that?
Very far into it.
Okay,
So I
okay.
left the hospital here in 2001. I've been working in industry ever since, kind of traveling the world in cancer centers the entire time, working for the software companies that make the software that I worked at the hospital.
Gotcha.
So I've been privileged to stay in the industry, meet people treating cancer, physicists, dosimetrists, and radiation oncologists, and really, I had never set out to do this. It was in 2020 during the pandemic. I was with a friend, I prayed for purpose, had this very vivid dream, a very vivid dream about this journal that I needed to create. And I woke up and typed it all down and wrote it. And then I was like, oh, maybe somebody's already done this. And I started to search, and I really didn't find anything quite like it. So we set paths in motion, and we created this. I created this in 2021 with the help of some other women, some other local women.
Okay.
One of whom I reached out to is Hope Christofferson, and she is a local artist that is so talented. Her mother was my friend, and I watched her work, and I asked her if she would paint the watercolors for it, so she did.
Oh, neat. Okay.
And then I really leaned into what makes this journal different is that it has personal stories of inspiration kind of sprinkled throughout that I thought was really important. Like if I'm doing this, it kind of guides you through, I'm getting a diagnosis. What tests am I getting? What treatment options? There's room for that. It kind of just guides you through the process, and sprinkled throughout are inspirational stories of local people that have walked this path before you, which I think is super important.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. So I interviewed locals in it, and then my best friend Jenny Liebernight is a cancer survivor, and she allowed me to tell her story in the Cancer Treatment Journal, and then she also is the copy editor of these journals.
Oh, very cool. Let's see this. Yeah, this first one. So this has been out on the market a little bit, and yeah, it's kind of like a journal. But what I love, it's like, yeah, you said, local artists, local stories, but it's colorful. There's pictures. There's places like this is a diet and symptom tracker. There's like all these different aspects of it. That's really important for somebody on their journey, I would think.
Yeah.
And just keeping track of stuff.
Right. This one says energy tracker, some inspirational quotes. So I think that that's what makes it different. And it's been so well received. We have it here in Staple and Spice and at the hospital gift shop, and both are selling. And we have some networks in Nebraska and Minnesota that give it to every new patient diagnosed. And,
oh, wow.
So that has been just really, really well received. And so it kind of prompted me to, as people were doing it, they say, you know what, we need a second one. We need a caregiver journal. So the
Okay.
evolution, as this was getting out there and as this was gaining traction, I kind of went back to some of the same people. So I went to Jenny's support team and said, you know, her husband, can we talk about what caregiving looked like for you on the opposite end?
Yes.
And so there's some similarities. I talk about Mary as a local nurse here, and I interviewed her daughter for a caregiver journal. And so how was
Okay.
it being her daughter, and what's advice do you give if you're walking this path? So
Okay.
we set out and we did a second one. It took longer. It was harder. I don't know why this one was easier and just came together so quickly. But caregiving is also not just cancer patients. So we have a heart transplant patient in here that we interviewed her care team. You know,
Okay.
we have someone who had ALS. Her mother had ALS, and she took care of her. She's also a local girl, but doesn't live here now. So, it was really fun to just kind of branch out and do it differently. Use the same artist, Hope Christopherson, used the same copy editor. But
Okay.
the difference is in this one, I did the photography, and most of the
okay.
images here are all in the Black Hills. A few are in Arizona and Utah, but most of them are Black Hills
Oh, that's
images.
so neat.
Similar layout. You know, places
Okay.
for you to write, inspirational stories throughout.
Okay.
And like I have a When Words Fail, Music Speaks. What music am I using to fight? You know, here's
Oh, yeah.
so the
That's
same
important.
pretty watercolors. She sat in the Black Hills inspired by, you know, creating these.
Yeah.
And we came up, and then this one, we have a QR code where you can actually go to the website and print some tracking pages, because caregiving,
Oh.
you need a lot of tracking.
Oh boy.
And so
Yeah.
we've had people say they take these into the doctor's offices, they write down what they need to know, they keep track of
Oh.
it, and then they
Yeah.
maybe write some stuff back. And it's just practical is what I was looking for.
Yeah, and pretty though. I mean, like, and it's something you can keep. You can take it everywhere, you know, and it's like pleasing to look at, and yeah, you definitely want to keep track, because I feel like me, if I'm recording, you know, it's like I got all these sticky notes, little scraps of paper everywhere.
That's what everybody
you
says.
know?
I had a bunch of hodgepodge. I had a bunch of sticky notes. I put it all in one place, and the
Yeah.
size matters to me. I am a
Yes.
journaler,
It's like
and so like I
put
wanted
in your
it to go
purse.
in my bag and my purse. Yeah, and what I didn't mention in my path and my history, that's very important, is that I have not ever had cancer. I've walked the hall with cancer patients. I've been in the field,
Sure.
but I did lose my husband 12 and a half years ago unexpectedly to a heart attack. And I say that's kind of my life defining moment, that nothing is the same before and after that. And I think that's what a cancer diagnosis does. It's
Yeah.
nothing's the same before or after, and you need people and tools and you know words of encouragement through the entire process, and that's really the backbone behind these journals.
Sure. Yeah, because on the cancer treatment journal, the patients, it kind of talks, and we've talked about this before, but you know, you hear the word cancer, and you know, immediately, you know, that's a scary word, you know, and so these journals, I mean, I just love this idea, because your first thought from day one, you know, if you have this journal, you can just put everything down, you know, thoughts and feelings and symptoms, and it's just really for everything.
Right. And I say journaling is your safe place. You can't get it wrong.
Mm.
And a lot of people say, you don't know how to process it. There's all this chaos in
Right.
your brain, and that's what
Yeah.
journaling can do. You can
Get it
write it
out.
down. Even the doctor said this, or I don't know what this means, or I need to ask about that. Right. So it is this safe place, and people say they go back and reread them, you know, and I think cancer is less scary for a few reasons. If you find cancer early, the cure rates are really increasing. And so I'm in
Sure.
the field of, just came home from a big show called ASTRO, American Society of Radiation Therapy Oncology. And the milestones that we are making in cancer care is so exciting and great. And so it doesn't have to be as scary anymore. You know, I think
Sure.
that's my take home message. And through this, most of the time it's scary when you stop treatments. When you're in the middle of treatment, you're like, okay, I'm doing things.
Right.
And so I kind of have something at the end of this, like, okay, what do I do now that my treatments are done? And
Oh,
how do I
okay.
manage some of those
Oh.
emotions? Because that's a reality that a lot of people don't realize. Like when you're actively doing it, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Right.
But
Right.
after that, it gets harder. So.
Yeah, no, I never thought of that. But that's a good point. Well, and then you also have all the checkups, and it's like, then you're worried, what if it comes back? And what if it comes back worse? And
Right,
I can't imagine what kind of goes through your mind.
Right.
Right? So this is the caregiver journal. So this is the new one.
Yes, it
That's
is
out. I
newer.
love these colors. Oh my
I do
goodness.
too. Hope did such a good job.
Thank
I
you.
had
So fabulous.
vision and she brought it together. So all of the
Mm-hmm.
watercolors throughout the entire thing are custom done by her and just for this project. And I think that they really look nicely together.
They
You know, I
do.
think that
Yes.
that, you know, if you know someone who has a diagnosis that of course you want to buy something for them, but sometimes you know, you can buy it as a set and their caregiver might be
Yeah.
in the home with them and be like, all right, here's both of you, setting you
Mm-hmm.
up for some sec. And again, there's some parallels
Yeah.
throughout. So it's been an exciting, good journey. I'm also a yoga instructor. And so
Oh,
I draw
okay.
upon my yoga background. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind
there's
of,
the
there you
yoga
go, there
pose.
you go. Some
Set
breath
the
work, some breathing, some,
yes.
you know, positive mental attitude of
Yeah.
all the different things that, you know, of course it's not really giving advice towards any cancer patients. It's just like
Right.
bringing some thoughts.
Yeah, like a safe space where to hold their thoughts and yeah.
Right. And Jenny talks about visualization techniques she used during
Mm.
treatment. So
Mm-hmm.
then that's shared. And it's just some like, what do other people do? How do they get through this? What can I use to get through this?
Yeah.
And another quote I put in there is like, when you get that diagnosis, you know, you just want to go around it. You just want to, and the
Mm.
fastest way is you got to go through it
Gotta
and
go
come out the
through
other
it.
side. And
Yeah, you hear that time and time again. You just got to trudge through the hard stuff,
right,
you know, to
right.
get through the other side. And so basically, I feel like you were in the industry, you've seen so many patients and probably friends and
Hmm.
family go through this. So this was just kind of something on your heart, and you had the ability and the know-how to sort of put this together.
Yeah, it kind of all just came together, my
Yeah.
photography and my yoga, and
Hmm.
I like to write and I like to journal, and I used journal as a coping mechanism for the
Hmm.
loss of my husband, and
Yeah.
I know what it can do, and so I was able to just kind of draw on all of those experiences and pull it together in the journals, and I'm really proud of them. I think they're really good, and the feedback has been.
Good.
Hmm.
Okay, so now you said locally people can buy these in Rapid City at Staple and Spice,
And at the hospital gift
the
shop.
hospital gift
Both.
shop. Okay.
And online, they are on Amazon. They don't come up right away unless you put like Boden, like the
Oh,
last
your
four.
last
You have
name.
to put
Okay.
Cancer Treatment Journal or Caregiver
Okay.
Journal, and if you put Boden behind it, they'll come in on Amazon. Or you can go to www.thecancertreatmentjournal.com, and there is a direct link there that'll take you to Amazon. So it's just
Okay.
thecancertreatmentjournal.com.
Okay, perfect. So you're kind of just going around promoting well the new one and the other one.
Right. Yeah. My
Yeah.
daughter is a marketing major at NAU. And so
Yeah.
she's just recently, like, so I said all the skill sets I have, but marketing the journals is not my skill set. But, you know, people want to be talking about it. And I've just recently
Yeah.
been on some national stages talking
Oh,
about this
cool.
to a lot of cancer industry people and
Mm-hmm.
getting some people reaching out and more. I just want to get it into the hands of more people that can use it, that can benefit from it.
Yeah, because you just essentially want to help people is what I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point behind it.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Dana. Is there anything else people need to know or any other resources that you can tell them about or how to get a hold of this or you or
Yeah, I think
like you
thecancertreatmentjournal.com
said?
is the
Okay.
best. And then I do have an Instagram page as well. And I love to hear anything
Mm-hmm.
positive feedback on it. I
Mm-hmm.
used it. I like it. Uh, you know, anything, reach out there. There is a reach to, and I can sell it at discount rate to bulk, you know, people that want to
Mm-hmm.
sell it themselves or yeah, just and any feedback. Like people have asked if I'd rev it or do new stories, or I think I'll use the platform to kind of tell some inspirational stories. And there are
Yeah.
so many.
Oh,
There are so
goodness.
many inspirational stories of
Yeah.
people who beat cancer right
Mm-hmm.
here in the Black Hills. And so
Mm-hmm.
I want to continue to tell their stories and figure out how to do that. So I think we'll do that
Yeah.
through the social media platforms. And I
Okay.
welcome anyone reaching out or any
Oh,
feedback.
I love that. Such a good outreach. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And the books, they're right here. Whoa.
Thank
Got all the info. All
you.
right. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, we'll see you next time on the Black Hills Connection podcast.